Peace, everybody. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, and we are back. Tonight, we are going to finish up, prayerfully, the going over the lawsuit of the French president Emmanuel and his wife Brigitte Macron's lawsuit against Candace Owens. It was pretty interesting last night. Shout out to my guest last night, Todd Shannon from Todd Thinks. Had a fantastic back and forth, had a good conversation last night. And there we go. Want to make sure that the audio is not playing in my ear, but we had a good conversation. So I want to say thank y'all so much to everybody who rocked with us on last night. And today I'm going to finish this one up. And I think it's going to be a good one. So first of all, thank you to everybody. Had almost 2,000 people check out the video last night. Thank you very much for not only checking it out, commenting, liking, all that kind of good jazz. So let's see if we can do even better on tonight. Looking forward to it. Let me just very quickly do something to double check that I have my audio playing correctly. If you could, get me in the chat. Hit me in the chat with that green heart in the chat if everything is clear and you can hear everything. Perfect. All right. I appreciate it. All right. I think we got it all together. Thank you so very much for tapping in with us on tonight. So, okay. Now, Todd, I have to admit, Todd is my resident one who has seen the full Candace Owens 8-part series on Brigitte Macron. So I will be flying a little bit blind because I have not watched that full deal right there, but I will definitely comment and take all your comments in the chat. So definitely, unequivocally, feel free to add your commentary if I missed something or a point has slid past me. I do want to say also, before we jump in too far, this Sunday, August 3rd, I'm going to be doing around 7 o'clock or so Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to go do a live stream AMA. I haven't done an AMA in a while. And I want to go over and talk about the new name change of the channel, which is now the Jay Witt Podcast, and talk about why I moved from Dear Woke Christian to the Jay Witt Podcast. And of course, take any of your questions, all that kind of good jazz like that. So that'll be on this Sunday at 7 p.m. I'll make sure that the thumbnail goes up and gives you all a head start and let you know what's going on there. All right, what we got? I got Barbara in the building. Thank you so very much, Barbara. She says she can hear. Absolutely. Mommy Kia in the house. Grace and peace to you. And she says she can hear. I appreciate it. Now, yesterday, we went over again just the opening salvo of this. Hey, what's going on, Time, brother? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much. Same to you, brother. Stay consistent and healthy as well, my brother. Yesterday, we went over Candace Owens, the Macron's lawsuit against Candace Owens. And I laid out the case that I believe that Candace really can't win either way. This is meant to bankrupt her, put her in a very serious financial trick bag, whatever, however you want to look at it, however you want to phrase it. I don't think that Candace has a path to victory here. Because even if they come back and say, yep, you're right, the Macrons, she's a man. Let's just pretend like everything she says is a man. It won't matter because the society that we're in, they all support that type of ideology of a man could become a woman and a woman could become a man. So she's not going to lose there. And good gracious, if they come back and say, nope, she really is a woman, and here's all the evidence that you need, all the DNA, all the kind of stuff like that, Candace is going to look even worse. And I think really, truly, who's going to suffer are all the people who are in Candace's orbit. And what I mean by that is, Candace professes to be a Christian. She professes to be a Catholic. Any other body who has attached themselves to her career or attached themselves to her orbit is going to suffer, because when she gets that egg on her face, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage. So that's my thought process on it. I want to go back over and finish this up with you all. I'm going to try to move a little quickly through it to kind of hit some of the high points of this case. I did leave the link to this in the description of this video, as well as the video from yesterday, so you can check it out if you want to go over it yourself, or maybe something I missed, whatever like that. I will say again, I don't believe that Candace is 100% unequivocally wrong. I just don't believe that she's proven it, And I also don't think that it really matters. And a lot of people have tried to convince me that it matters. And as I said before, I don't see where it would matter. I don't see if it would or should matter to this degree and shape and form. Where Candace is saying like my whole career is staked on this, and it's such like that. There's just some, for lack of a better term, some vibes, some energy, some feelings about it that just seem grandiose to me. It just seems like I'm just doing this for my sake, not for the betterment of the people of France, not for the betterment of people maybe that the Macrons have heard, if as she likes to project it, or anything else. It's just like, look at me. I have done this. I have brought about this case. I've brought about this story, and I've carried it all the way across the finish line. And now we all know that this Brigitte was born a man. And also another reason why I don't think that she's gonna it this case is hung on a lot of conspiracies. A lot. And hear me. And look, I'm my name is Jason. I like a good conspiracy every now and then. There we go. I like a good conspiracy every now and then. They're kind of fun, you just kind of theorize things. It's kind of fun. I don't live with conspiracies. I know where to stop with them, right? The story that somebody told me about how Brigitte Macron got the children, if you don't sit yourself down, I'm like, let me find it real quick. I don't want to. I know I just said we're gonna start this. I know I just said this, but I really want you to hear this. This person came and told me, all right, where is it? Hold on. Okay, here it is right here. And I'm gonna pull this up, and it's on last night's video. And like, okay, I got you. But would you rather? This is the story that Candace is spinning as it relates to my question of where did the children come from? Okay, let me bring this in. I haven't done a live stream in a while. I realized that last night. Like I haven't done a live stream in some time. Okay, here it is. You obviously didn't watch the show, or you would know she does not just ignore the issue of her having children. Now, I told y'all last night I had not watched, I'm not that committed to it. So I told y'all that was not, so I'm wondering, and she's trying to disparage me for not quote unquote watching the show. I just wondered, did she watch my video? Because I literally said I didn't watch it, and Todd was my sitting side chair to give me advice or to talk to me about this. But let's continue. Listen to this story. This is the story that allegedly Candace is pushing about where Brigitte's children come from. Jean-Michel Trudeau, Mrs. Macron, before transition. So she's saying a man, before he transitioned, was married to a female. So Jean-Michel was married to, I don't know, Janet, okay? Was married to a female and had children with that woman. So Jean-Michel and Janet had children. And which is why those children look exactly like Brigitte. But how I have yet to see somebody who transitions. So what they're saying is that the Jean Michel, when he transitioned from being a man to a woman, it was a one-to-one comparison. And Jean Michel looks exactly like he would as a woman as he did as a man. So that's why the kids look exactly the same as Brigitte, because they would look exactly like Michelle. Okay. I mean, okay. Candace even spoke to the ex-wife, which was awkward. So she spoke to, listen to this. Jean Michel was married to Janet. And so Candace allegedly spoke to Janet, which was awkward. Maybe you should actually watch the series, capital letters. This is a big push. As I said before, Candace's people, they get on this little tear and they just keep running with it. So one of them was everybody's getting paid to put out hit pieces. That was a story for a while. Then another story was that Candace's platform is too big for any of these other smaller YouTubers to matter. That was a story that Candace put out. And so now it is that people have not watched it, but they're calling her out. And so I just asked this person this story. I said, "This story sounds reasonable to you? A man married a woman, having kids, and then sliced and diced to become a woman, steals an identity, and marries the future president of France." Okay, sure. Okay. That story makes more sense to her than just it's a woman. I mean, literally, you can two words. I'm sorry, three words. It's a woman versus all of this jerry rigging. We're gonna have to insert that little that meme where the guy is trying to show all the conspiracies with the red yarn. Like, there's no y- this makes sense to you. Okay, all right, makes sense. You knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. She's been on the wrong side of a lot of issues, and it isn't a good look. And this one right here, to me, is just reeking of self-aggrandizement, this self-puffing up to make myself important, like the president called you. I thought about that today too, and I promise you, I am going to get into this video. I am going to get in here. I thought about it today, like, how serious do you have to be? And I'm not saying that she's lying, but you want me to believe that the president, the most powerful man on the planet, called you about the Macrons? Okay. Okay. I guess I'm supposed to believe that. I just can't wrap my mind around that, however, but I guess I'm supposed to believe that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this story is getting more and more fanciful. I'm truly expecting leprechauns to pop up in a minute. I'm really expecting this story to really go off into complete and total, land before time type of stuff. Let's go. So last night we ended on page like 43, I think it was 42, something like that. Defendants continue to mock the Macrons, attempt to correct the record, demonstrating that Owens was not interested in the truth. She would rather make salacious and false claims to boost her revenue. For example, defendants reposted and expanded on the post from Alexander Dugin, the far right Russian philosopher and controversial figure, featuring Miss Macron as a Neanderthal and wondering if he too would be sent a redaction demand. All right, and here it is right here. Kind of foul. Will Emmanuel Macron now send a strongly worded letter to Alexander Duggan from the I mean, she's pretty foul, man. She was giving him that business. We've made some fact checking, and this is what Duggan says. We made some fact checking and have certified that the first appearance of Brigitte Macron from the Neanderthalian cave of South France, she doesn't only belong to a different gender, but to a different race than all the rest of the humans. Wow. My gosh, man. Again, like, I argued yesterday, I said, hey, just because you don't like a person doesn't mean that that's a man. Okay. Dang, man. That's some harsh that's some pretty harsh stuff, man. I've said that women are pretty harsh to each other, but my gosh. All right. On January 11th, 2025, the defendant reposted the ex false assertion that the December retraction demand admitted that Ms. Macron assaulted President Macron. This is blatantly false, and the Owens knew it. The truth was that the December retraction demand pointedly denied that the president was statutorily assaulted. Man, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's stuff that she was shared, and she's saying that she wasn't shared these things. That is just gross, man. Here, I'm gonna hit some of these high points real quick. You will note that the lawyers intentionally leave out how old Brigitte was. The public was told a lie from the very beginning. They were told that Macron was 17 and Brigitte was 34. All of that was a media curated tale to help bury the obvious perversion. I mean, but in France, he could be 15. I don't like, why would they even worry about it if in France it's legal? I hate to say it, it's legal for somebody 34 to have a relationship with somebody 15. That's gross. That's highly inappropriate, but it's not illegal. So, like, why would they do this? The French government just admitted to real Candace Owens and President Macron started his relationship with Brigitte when he was 15 years old, and that somehow that's not assault in France, because it's not. I hate it, but it's not unless there's something I miss. In France, that is that's a I mean, that's again, like, this is some very interesting stuff. On January 12th, the defendant again reposted another claim that the December redaction demand admitted that Ms. Macron assaulted President Macron and agreed it was indeed in the most stunning admission from the letter. Owens repeated the claim on defendant's January 13th episode. Again, Owens knew that these statements were false when she made them, but the truth did not matter when their followers were to be gained. When there were followers to be gained, please forgive me. Part of the defamation is to prove that somebody did something with maliciousness or malice. If they just show that they sent her these letters and she subsequently responded differently than what the letters say, aka knowing that she knew what she was saying was false, I don't know how she pulls out of this. Owens' response to the December redaction, and this is done in December. So that means that everything in January is up for grabs. Redaction demand was picked up by other media outlets who understood from Owens that the Macrons had not provided any denials or evidence against the false claims. This is what I'm saying. Like, she's literally saying she didn't have certain things when in fact she did, including the Macrons were lying about Mrs. Macron's biological sex, just as Owens intended. Those same outlets described Owens as doubling down on all of her claims. I mean, she did. I don't know how she pulls this out. I really don't. And maybe a legal expert can maybe make it a little bit more clear for me, whatever like that. I am a pre-K law student. I know nothing. But if she was told something in December that the answer to the problem is 9, and in January she's saying nobody told her that the answer to the problem wasn't 7, and she keeps doubling and tripling, quadrupling down that the answer to the problem is 7, but then they can prove like, well, we told you in December that the answer to the problem was 9. Why are you saying that it's 7? I don't know how she's going to fix this. And there are a lot of extra links in here. So if you definitely want to check this out, please go grab the article from the description of this video. At this point, Owens decided to escalate her claims further. This is yet another reason why I say there's just a lot of grandiose grandstanding here. Like, there's no example of her being teachable or learning something or even listening to these people. Nothing whatsoever. She's already said that she stakes her entire career on this fact. So there's no way that she's going to back down because her career is in jeopardy, according to her own testimony. This is very wild, man. The same episode, Owens falsely implied that the Macrons were responsible for the death of a journalist investigating them. Owens claims that the Macrons have a dark side, and only one by one, these independent journalists and researchers began to suffer. Noting that this is a true story, Owens told her audience about Isabella Fiera, who was investigating the Macron's relationship and landed upon something bigger. And 2 weeks later, Isabella Fiera was found deceased. The authorities ruled Fiera's death as a self-deletion, but Owens claims that it was almost impossible. The intended, unavoidable, and false implication of the Fiera was deleted from the investigation. From investigating the Macrons. I'm gonna say it again. Something else that I notice about this is that Owens is making these claims, and she does this quite a bit, and you'll hear this quite a bit when she's talking. She has sources outside of everyone else, and a lot of the time they're not named. And how does she know that this was not a deletion, a self-deletion? I'm not saying that it wasn't or was, but it just seems very convenient because it does continue to push her narrative forward that the Macrons did something to them. And rather than the woman maybe did delete herself. I'm not saying that she did. I don't know much about this Isabella Fiera story. All I'm saying is it just seems convenient that every time something happens, Owens comes up with a source. Owens comes up with somebody who can prop up her story and keep it moving. As soon as you think that the story, the wheels on the bus and got a flat tire, it doesn't matter. Owens finds a way to keep it moving, whether the tire's flat, is riding on rims, whatever. She's going to find a way to keep it moving no matter what. Owens repeated that the December redaction demand did not deny that Brigitte was trans or explicitly state that Brigitte Macron was born a biological woman. This is false. The December redaction explicitly stated that the Macrons were not concealing Miss Macron's biological gender or sex, rather, forgive me, and that she was born Brigitte Trejo, a woman. Uh, And when you think about the fact that she already had this information, Owens told the Macrons to bring this lawsuit. She continued, don't even waste money on getting a courier to file. I'll file it for you. I'll run down to the courthouse and file a lawsuit for you. See what I'm saying? Like this grandiose self, like does this sound like somebody who would ultimately be willing to accept anything that contradicted what she believes? Owens claimed, I might even cover your legal expenses. Owens, the man, displays her ill will toward the Macrons, stating, I'm disgusted by your relationship. You make me sick, Brigitte. Why? Like, why? It just seems well out of the range of just like being a normal spat. On January 16, 2025, several days after publicly referencing this contents, Owens finally sent a response to the December redaction demand to the Macron's counsel. Rather than redact she demonstrably false statements, Owens defiantly reaffirmed them. She provided no evidence or justification to support her defamatory claims. Instead, she attempted to trivialize the matter by insisting that the Macrons reframe their denials as responses to 21 questions, an apparent effort to convert her baseless investigation into a public publicity stunt. Owens then misled her audience by claiming that because she had posed these questions, the Macrons could never prove actual malice. I think that's a very interesting point because I've heard her talk about she sent these questions to them and they didn't answer. Now I understand what she did. She failed to disclose, however, that the Macrons had already addressed the substance of the questions within the December redaction demand. On the 31st of January, defendant premiered the series. The series began with introductory episode followed by 6 chapters, concluded with an epilogue. Throughout the series, Owens made the false defamatory allegations that Ms. Macron was born a man, stole another person's identity to become Brigitte. Mrs. Macron and President Macron are blood relatives involved in incest. Wow. President Macron was chosen to be president of France as part of the MK Ultra or a similar mind control program, and Ms. Macron and President Macron are committing forgery, fraud, and abuse of power to cover up these facts. These claims are demonstrably false, and Owens knew it when she published it. Is it possible? Is it possible that this could be true? Is it possible that this could be true? Yeah, it's not zero. It's not a 0% chance, but it's possible that this could all be true. Is it possible? On the same question though, is it possible this could be false? Absolutely. This seems like a movie script almost. Like, is it possible that Candace was being trolled by one of her movie um, producer friends, maybe that was like, "Let me give you this script to read," and she just took it and ran the wrong direction? This is amazing. There's a movie back in the 90s called The Game where these rich people would hire this company to put them in this very perilous situation, and literally everybody was in on it, the entire town. It was this you would hire this company, they would put you in this perilous situation, kidnap you, a hostage situation, whatever like that, and everybody was in on it, the whole everybody. And I forgot the name of the actors, but it was a really interesting movie because during the movie, the guy didn't know that he had been the game was playing. He had approached the company. They said, "Nah, we're not going to do anything." He had signed the contract, but lo and behold, when they said, "Nah, we're not going to do anything," the game started. And they kidnap him. I think they take him to Mexico, bury him alive. I mean, it is the craziest story. And he finally makes it back home and to the headquarters of the company. And somehow or another, he breaks into the lunchroom. I believe it was. And he literally sees everybody who was involved in it, the cartel, this police officer, this boat captain, everybody was there, like having lunch, chilling. It was the craziest story. And I bring that up because I feel like Candace is caught up in a game where somebody was just like just telling her a story and she just ran with it, and she's gone way past where they ever intended this to go. What did she say here? Yeah, it's a very, very unlikely the chance of nonsense being true. I agree with you, David, for sure. She hates Jews and her mind is fried with hate. I can't disagree. Like, why do you even want this to be true? This is just such a crazy story. I mean, again, is it possible? There is a possibility. I'm not saying it's completely impossible. All I'm saying is that there's a greater chance that this is all false. The first installment, titled An Introduction, premiered on January 31st. Defendant announced an introductory episode on X. The episode can be found on CandaceOwens.com, YouTube, Spotify, Audible. Gotcha. The transcript is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podscribe. All right, here we go, right here. Despite all of the censorship and persecution in France, we are already trending because today is becoming Brigitte Day. The French citizens have been gaslit for years by their media. That ends today. Okay, so that was it. Man. See you at 4 p.m. and begin awakening the world to the sadistic world of Brigitte and her groomed pet, Emmanuel Macron, plus the power structures that protect them both. Okay, just on a basic level, like, how does she think that this is not defamatory? How does she think that this is not somehow or another? I would love to hear the argumentation for that. All right. Throughout the introduction, Owens made an overarching false claim that the Macrons were surrounded by a syndicate of criminals that helps them conceal their secrets, which proves they themselves must be criminals. Owens made the following specific defamatory claims. Brigitte Macron alleged her brother, who I believe Brigitte Macron is, Brigitte Macron's alleged brother, who I believe Brigitte Macron is, the guys, by the way, you should know that there's a strange case that of what happens to every journalist who tries to touch the story. First and foremost, Isabella Fiera, I think I mentioned this on a past episode, people who began prodding into the story as an independent journalist found happened upon some huge information pertaining to the relationship of Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte up, but then she was found deceased. She was found deceased floating in a river, and a friend said that she didn't delete herself, but the media said it was definitely not that. I'm sorry, it was definitely did that. There have been people who have been so concerned about like our safety and stuff. We did up our security for the time being after getting the letter from Macron, and because the things that we know about their network. Wait, let me ask a question. Going back up here, how does she know what Fiera found? This is such a wild story. Like, how does she know what Fiera found? If unless she hasn't, she just says that she found something that was big and then she got deceased. But how do you know she found something that was big? All right, let me finish this up. Like I said, every journalist that has tried to get this out, we are taking that seriously, but also know that at the end of the day, it's not a security's hands, it's in God's hands. And so we just ask everybody, whether to believe or not, to just pray. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're dragging Candace's Christian faith into this malarkey, and that has no place in it. If you're going to do this apart from trying to bring God into it. I'm sorry, because there's no redemption in your pursuit. So whether or not they're not, whether or not Brigitte is a man or a woman, is beside the point. That you're not bringing any kind of redemption to these people. So don't bring God into this. All right, I'm not going to read all of that. Uh, because it's still talking about the criminal claims, criminal charges, and stuff like she's making. On February 3rd, 25, after Owens escalated her claims to an her claims in an introduction and made good on her promise to release the series on the Macron sent a February redaction demand, this time addressing Owens' latest false and defamatory allegations. And it again, like she's being given this information that says that what you're saying is not true, and it doesn't even matter. The Macrons told Owens that her insinuation that they were involved in the death of Fiera is entirely false. Again, they told Owens that they had not engaged in any criminal behavior. And again, they told Owens that that there was no secret group controlling or blackmailing them with evidence that Miss Macron was being born a dude. Owens never wrote back, but instead used the demand as content for her series. So even in that, like she's acknowledging that the Macrons are reaching out to her. I just want to know how people believe this. Owens chose to publicly deliver her reply to the Macrons on February redaction in the next episode of the series rather than issue a direct reply to the Macrons. Further evidence that she prioritized publicity over truth. Unsurprisingly, her response was to once again double down on her knowingly false and defamatory claims, gaslighting the public. On February 4th, 2025, defendants released the next episode of the series, Gaslight the Public. Defendants announced the release of the episode on X. The response found at CandaceOwens.com. Okay, we got all that. Episode 1 premiered on Owens' false claims that the Macrons have manipulated and controlled the media, even resorting to outright lies and fraud to conceal their past and the nature of the relationship. During episode 1, Owens made the following specific false defamatory claims. I literally told you that every journalist that tries to touch the story, something happens to. Okay. And it is a fact that Isabella Ferrer was working on the story and had managed. We just read this part. I'm not going to read that again. Okay. This is one of her claims from the first episodes, though. I believe Brigitte Macron was born biological male. Okay, then transitioned to be a female. That is my belief. I don't know how many times I can say it. Okay, I mean, you can believe it, but it doesn't show that you have evidence to that fact, though. And you will never, ever, ever get me to transform my opinion that you were groomed by the person you eventually married in 2007. Brigitte Macron, I believe she's a man. Wow. So again, so my question, I'm gonna scroll down because I'm not gonna read every second of this, but it just seems odd to me that if you're a journalist pursuing truth, wouldn't you wouldn't you be willing to accept if the facts brought you to the idea that she wasn't a man, but rather that your initial commentary was wrong? Wouldn't you accept that and be like, well, I started out one place and now ended somewhere else? Wouldn't you be willing to do that? Or is it you're just so hung up on what it is that you want to believe that you're not willing to even consider something else? Okay, let's jump to 124. Most shockingly, Owens outright lied about the December redaction. So we remember she got that redaction in December 2024, demand to support her false claims of statutory R and PDF file, twisting facts to fit her preconceived narrative. Owens stated that in December redaction demand was an admission that it was a statutory assault. This assertion is factually and legally incorrect and further republishes the false allegations of criminal conduct. Owens told the Macrons that no amount of evidence will ever get her to transform her opinion that President Macron was groomed and that Mrs. Macron and that Mrs. Macron was born a man. This flatly refutes her claims that her goal is to inform her audience of the facts. Yeah, I don't know how she's going to pull this off. I know there's going to be somebody that tells me that she's going to, you know, trounce the Macrons or whatever like that. I don't understand how. I really don't, because everything I'm seeing right here is like I'm not willing to even be considered. I'm not even willing to consider something that's contrary to what I believe. Yeah, it just seems like I like what Casey said right here. I mean, it's giving narcissism. I mean, I'm not diagnosing anybody. I have no means of doing that, but it's just like, or definitely some grandiose self complex. Maybe that's a term we could use. She has a self complex. Okay, they're going back over all of the episodes. Okay, let's see this right here. The second episode premiered on Owens false claims that both President and Mr. Macron have intentionally made it impossible for the media to uncover their past, thereby hiding the secrets of their identities and relationship. During episode 2, Owens made the following specific false and defamatory claim. He turned to his wife to know what to answer about his sister. I don't know about how you guys are feeling right now, but I am starting to get a little icky feeling. It's all starting to feel a bit, I don't know, incestuous to me. I and I forgot about that part. Owens makes the argument that Mrs. Macron is like the dude's dad or something like that. But I thought he would. I mean, the story just gets bonkers at some point. It's starting to lose, like, I'm losing the plot at this point. Candace, I have no idea what you're doing. She remained committed to her preconceived narrative that Miss Macron was born a man, interpreting all information as further confirmation, which is a very interesting thing for a journalist to do, which is the information should lead you to the facts, not be proof text for what it is that you already believed. That seems like a horrible place to be. She began highlighting Miss Macron's clothing as evidence of transition, stating that she wore a lot of scarves as a teacher, and the only plausible explanation was that they're meant to hide signs of feminization surgery. I- Is that maybe it's fashionable? Do you make any room for the idea that maybe she just likes scarves? Do you make any room for that? I mean, when I was a teacher, I used to wear aprons all the time because I didn't like getting my shirts and my slacks dirty. So I would always wear aprons. So I had aprons from Starbucks and all this kind of stuff like that. I had these aprons and I would wear those every day. No, I didn't work in a cafeteria. I just wanted to stay clean because my kids, I always allow them opportunities to do things that would get kind of messy. So we would do painting and clays and all this kind of stuff like that. We would do that all the time. I just didn't want to get dirty. But like, do you make any room for the fact that maybe the woman just likes scarves? Like, okay, I got you. I got you. You're saying that it's feminization. Again, this is starting to read like a really bad Star Trek skit or a really bad Outer Limits script or something. Maybe he was reading an old Alfred Hitchcock memoir or something. It doesn't make sense. Owens based her theory that Miss Macron is her brother. Like, listen to the sentence. I just want to read this part of the sentence. Owens based her theory that Mrs. Macron is her brother, Jean Michel, on the family photo from her childhood. Owens stated that Mrs. Macron was not a child on her mother's lap, but really the young boy on the left. Owens bolstered the false claim, with an equally false evidence that up until the release of the family photo, Jean Michel was completely unaccounted for as a member of Miss Macron's family. Is it possible? Yes. Is that likely though? What's the most likely? Like, I, I don't want to scroll all the way back up because it's way up there. But the picture of the kids when they were younger, they they're kids. Like, I I look at my own children and I say they've changed so much in the last 5 years. My goodness, they changed. And I find videos of them when they were much younger. I'm like, man, they've changed so much since then. Like, why are you acting like when you're born, you're going to look the exact same as when you're 34 years old? Like, Candace, this argumentation is horrible. Again, I'm not saying that this was a 34-year-old woman and this 15-year-old, 16-year-old boy was not crazy town. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that is crazy town. That is cuckoo bananas. But that don't mean it's just a man though. But you know what, Barbara? Thank you so very much for the super sticker. Thank you so much for the very kind $10 super. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I appreciate you helping out and supporting the channel. This is just, again, like I know there are a lot of people that really rock with Candace. I used to think that she was a great thinker too, but man, this is this is silly. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, look. Okay, I'm just jumping through it because it's just too much. It's just getting silly. Oh my gosh. Okay, 135. Owens also introduced her false claim that the Macrons are committing incest. Specifically, she distorted President Macron's demeanor during a media interaction to claim it's all starting to feel a bit, I don't know, incestuous to me. Owens made it clear that this was a false fact by presenting a side by side image of Ms. Macron's supposed to be nephew, Jean Jacques, and President Macron in an effort to convince viewers of an apparent resemblance between the two. So now Macron is really her nephew. Jean-Jacques is the biological son of Miss Macron's brother, Jean-Michel Trudeau, whom again she said doesn't exist, but I digress. Owens intentionally implied that the image was proof President and Miss Macron were blood relatives. I kind of starting to feel sorry for her because like it, this story has gone so far. I mean, we've crossed well over the Rubicon of logic. I don't even know how to even mentally wrap my mind around. So let me make sure I got this right. Let me make sure I got this right. So Miss Macron is supposed to be Jean-Michel Trudeau, but Jean Trudeau is impersonating and got transitioned to be Miss Macron. But while this person trans has a son, and his son is Jean-Jacques Trudeau. And Jean-Jacques is actually President Macron. So the man married his brother, his son. Okay. Is this it? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Candace. You've staked your whole, and that's why I said yesterday on the show. I really believe that the Macrons are going to bankrupt Candace. They're going to bankrupt her with this. They're going to drag this thing out. Don't be surprised if this thing lasts 2, 3 years. Don't be surprised. Just dragging her through the muck and costing her more and more and more. And her tripling down. I expect aliens to show up. I expect dinosaurs to show up. I expect the multiverse to get cracked open. This is going to go. This story is just outlandish. This sounds like something that somebody drunk at the bar would tell you. You would hear this on Skid Row with the guy that thinks he's a pink bunny rabbit. This doesn't sound like somebody logical was ever intended to like buy into this. It's like again, like I said, it was like your friend was writing a really bad fan fiction and they presented it to you and you ran with it, Candace. This is crazy. But what's not crazy is shouting out Tally. Thank you so much for the 9. Is that euro? 9.99 super chat. She said these karma for returning starting now. Thank you so very much for the very kind, very gracious super. I appreciate you. I can't wrap my mind around the fact that this was actually intentional. I'm sorry. This sounds like some Alfred Hitchcock. Like Alfred Hitchcock wrote this after a really bad bender, and she just ran with it. Let's keep it going. On February 7th, 25, defendants premiered the next episode of the series, One Coincidence Too Many, which I think is very interesting because as much as they might have quote unquote coincidences, Candace has just as many. Okay. It said that where it is. Okay. In episode 3 premiere owns false claims that any coincidences in the Macron's lives should be viewed as evidence in support of her theory. Among other things, Owens discussed President Macron's relationship with his grandmother, his parents' profession, and Miss Macron's first husband, Andre Louis. During episode 3, she made this claim. We showed you this side by side of current President Macron and a person who was supposed to be Brigitte's nephew, his wife's his wife's nephew. Right. Okay. But these people who are not supposed to be in any way related look way too much alike. So is she honestly saying that all white people look alike? Y'all, this woman literally is saying all white people look alike. So because somebody looks similar to, based upon her, because we might look at it and be like, what are you talking about? But because Candace looks at him and said they look alike, they have to be one and the same, and they have to be Brigitte's nephew, son, husband. I'm sorry, nephew, husband. I'm just trying to figure out how she said this without dying laughing on her own. There's no conspiracy here. MK Ultra was real. The government was obsessed with all of these different programs. Really, the main point of them trying to condition the brain, trying to brainwash people, sometimes through isolation, which sounds like Emmanuel Macron spent a ton of time isolated throughout his childhood. How do you know that? I mean, he's acknowledged that he lived through books, and his friends are acknowledging, or should be friends, are acknowledging that he was kind of alone on his own. So just because you like books now, oh my gosh, now you public enemy because you like books. Y'all, stop this woman. This woman, this has got to be somebody's punking Candace. They're like, I can't believe she's still going with this. So because he liked books, so they would experiment psychologically through isolation, through drugs. So because he liked books, he was MK Ultra brainwashed. You know, LSD and drugs, people to see if they could get them to commit crimes or to commit other acts unwillingly. Essentially trying to establish a Manchurian candidate. So we don't know just how global that program went. We don't know every element of that program. So you don't know that he was MK Ultra. Y'all, I can't wait. I say this a lot. I do say this a lot, and I think this is a perfect example of something I've told a lot of people to do. Write it down and read it out loud. Write it down and read it out loud. There's no way if you had written this down, Candace, and just read it out loud in your mirror, read it out there in your garage, sitting in your car, that you would have said, "Hey, that makes a lot of sense." I'm sorry. There's no way. I think she might have been just freestyling. There's no, this doesn't make sense. You don't know that these things happened. And sure, I'm not going to argue that it's never happened, that there's no MK Ultra. I'm not saying that. Project Butterfly. I'm not going to argue with that. Project Paperclip, whatever it is, right? But you don't know that this happened to this man. They are going to have her for lunch. They are going to have Candace for lunch. Truly evil stuff. Okay, now, earlier I told you that the Macron's alleged biological parents you see here up on the screen had some interesting jobs just off the bat. His father, Jean-Michel Macron, was a psychiatrist. And yes, of course, we know for a fact that psychiatrists have done some evil things, some very evil things throughout the years. I'm not saying, I'm not, has there ever been a gas attendant that's done some evil things? Has there ever been a truck driver who's done evil things? How about window washers? Are there any shady window washers out here? Arborists. Come on now. What about some pretty gnarly arborists? Like, why are psychiatrists catching strays? Candace, why are psychiatrists? Why are they the only ones that have done evil things? This is this is insane. What really happened to Andre Luis, who was cremated very quickly, even though his daughter says he was buried. What really happened to Andre Luis? Did he actually die? Did he escape the existence of Eloise Palace? Did he try to escape, but the Eloise Palace intervened? One of the things that Candace likes to do is like she likes to pose questions that really truly are showing she's asking questions to kind of steer you in a certain direction. It's not just a genuine question, but rather, do you have Bud Light in your Stanley Cup today? Like, where the heck you getting that from? I don't. It's water. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually tea. Forgot that. But it's not Bud Light. But like, ma'am, this is insane. Nah, there's no way. I was trying to give her a little bit of hope that she had a chance. I'm sorry. If this is what she's doing, they're going to have her for lunch. They are going to have her for lunch. Okay, I'm going to scroll through here just a little bit. This is interesting. 141. Still, Owens kept pushing. She falsely claimed that Miss Macron had refused to confirm she was the woman in the wedding photo, even though the December redaction demand explicitly identified the woman as Mrs. Macron and noted that the photo was one of many photos documenting her life as a woman. This is wild. With her audience growing, so did Owens' distortions. And I think they're doing a great job, in my opinion, of pointing out that Candace is doing this for gain, because that's part of it as well. Not only do you do it for maliciousness, but you do it also for some kind of financial gain or some kind of gain of attention or power. And they're continually bringing it up. If this case gets dropped, if this case gets settled, I would be very, very interested to see who it is that actually initiated the settlement, who it is that actually initiated the stopping of this case. Because I don't think it's going to be the Macrons. All right, with the audience growing and Ellen's distortions, she casts suspicion of the death of Andre Louise, calling the timing remarkably convenient and implying that the Macrons were lying about the circumstances. She asked whether he was cremated too quickly and floated the idea that either his death was faked or that he was silenced by Elise Palise. Did he actually pass away? Did he actually die? She asked, did he escape with assistance of Elise Palace? Did he try to escape, but Elise Palace intervened? This is wild. Y'all, oh, here we go. Then came the next escalation. Owens invoked MK Ultra. She claimed that President Macron's grandmother died on April 13th, a date she noted also marks Macron's birthday, Mrs. Macron's birthday, and the start of the CIA's MK Ultra program, suggesting the connection was not a coincidence but a conspiracy. She alleged that President Macron was subjected to isolation as a child and became a Manchurian candidate, and claimed the program included S perversions such as assault and impact somebody's psyche. Like, how does she know this? It- these people, like, her audience needs to start asking better questions. Like, how do you know that this happened to this man? Because you're making some pretty bold assertions. How do you know that? Not stopping there, Owens went after President Macron's parents, implying that their professions were suspicious in asserting without evidence, we know for a fact that psychiatrists have done some evil things. She capped off the tirade by dragging Jeffrey Epstein into the mix, saying that there have been Epstein connection to the story. We just haven't gotten to it yet. It's all connected. Wow. Owens folded President Macron's mother, Dr. Frances Noes, into her fabricated narrative by focusing on her professional work with intersex individuals. Owens and twisted Dr. Nguyen's role providing medical care and support for intersex patients in France into supposed proof that the Macron family was well versed in identity transformation and therefore part of the coordinated effort to conceal Ms. Macron's biological gender and leap. The leap is illogical and baseless. There is no connection between Dr. Nguyen's work and her daughter-in-law's identity. And Owens ignored the fundamental distinction between being intersex and being transgender. Still, without a shred of supporting evidence, Owens falsely claims that the Macrons kept this quiet when they had gotten married, deliberately misleading her audience to serve a narrative she knew was false. This is craziness. Okay, I'm going to scroll past some of these. I want to see, does she talk at all about the children? Okay, I'm just trying to see because, of course, somebody said that I don't see her. This is absolutely wild. Okay, let me just read through these real quick. These are kind of interesting. So let me read these little comments. These are comments from episode 4. Today is Jean-Michel Trudeau's birthday. In other words, happy birthday, Brigitte Macron, the First Lady, Brigitte Macron. That's that's pretty foul, man. That girl is foul. Macron's immediate family was involved in helping people who had gender issues to become someone else. Wow. In other words, they were facilitating the issuing of real government IDs, which allow people to illegally shed themselves of their former identities and their true biological sex and have to wake up to the fact that this is a reality in this world that we live in today. So, what are the implications of that? But so she's saying that Macron's mom was doing uh, sex changes. This is crazy. But what we can't tell you is what exactly happened to Andre Louis. We cannot ascertain what happened to him based on the testimony of his first cousin because it depends on whether or not you believe his partner, the woman who was at his funeral, who claimed that she found tickets to Africa in his pocket. And this is that he emptied all of his bank accounts. And if you potentially, or you could say, and or if you believe the journalist from Paris, why is this woman so committed to this? Who then wrote that Andre Louis spent the last days of his life in a psychiatric ward being guarded by none other than Alexander. Why is she so committed to this? You got to explain this to me. Why is Candace so committed to this to the point that she is literally willing to make a fool of herself in front of people? And then my backup question to that is, why are you, as supporters of Candace, not willing to tell her, ma'am, go have a seat. You over here reading some Alfred Hitchcock in 2025 and basing your whole career off of that. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. With forgery, extortion, and most importantly, with access to a woman who can facilitate the changing of identities, which is crazy work, man. I mean, she has twisted an entire narrative. It is not enough for any person to investigate in this case to ask questions like, is Brigitte Trudeau in the wedding photo? Because you can confirm that this is indeed a photo of a woman named Brigitte Trudeau in that wedding photo where Brigitte is, we cannot confirm because the first lady refuses to answer. And I asked this question yesterday. I think I asked the question in the comment section. Who are you, Candace? Who are you that you think somebody owes you an answer to something that they disagree with or that they owe you an answer, period? Like, why do you think that Brigitte Macron, male or female, owes you an answer? That's what I want to know. So we have to essentially understand that you can just take somebody's name. You can take You can become somebody else at a moment's notice. Now, legally, when you become transgender, okay, this brings me to Michel Trudeau. If this is really you, Brigitte Macron, and you did not take on the identity of a sister, if it's really you, wow. Y'all, this woman is bonkers. The only question that remains is who in the heck is Brigitte Macron? And the obvious answer to me, and after you see these photos, is that you're going to see is one of the particular from Jean-Michel Trudeau when he's 18. You're going to fall down like I did when I saw it. It's completely crazy. No, Candace, you're just saying that all white people look alike. You are doing the same thing that everybody else says when they say all black people look alike. You just saying that all British people, all French people look alike. That's all you're doing. You're playing into the stereotype. Somebody is punking you. They were playing a game and you are still playing it. There's no question upon seeing this technology in my mind that Jean-Michel Trudeau is Brigitte Macron. The only question that I have, what happened to his sister, Brigitte Trudeau? So to me, this is the most bonkers of bonkers story. Y'all, I have no idea. I have no idea how you can take Candace seriously. And again, I say this again with all sincerity. Let me bring myself back up here. With all sincerity, Candace professes to be a Christian, and people are going to look at Christians as if Candace is a representation of that. Candace believes a fanciful, insane Alfred Hitchcock, Stephen King story, M. Night Shyamalan story, and ran with it. That's what Christians do. That's what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. Like she's going the crater effect that's going to happen, the halo effect that's going to happen because Candace, and I believe falsely, assesses that she's a Christian. I'm going to argue that, and you can meet me outside if you have a disagreement. There are going to be people who are Christian that are going to get drugged into this and are going to have to try to, and they're going to be like, well, what about Candace Owens? She says she's a Christian and she believes all this crazy conspiracy theory. And there's going to be Christians who are going to have to try. And I'm just going to tell you right now, you don't have to answer for that foolishness. I'm just going to tell you right now, don't even worry about it. Like, I don't answer for it. You can come at me and I'm going to say, she's crazy, nut job. The story told you itself that it was crazy. The fact that you found it in the back of a comic book store should have told you enough that this is a crazy story. Candace sat there and built her whole career on. That's her fault. You do not have to answer for that. I'm just going to let you know that now. But what I need to do is get moving on through this. Shout out to the Lady Luck Club in the building. I see you over there. What is going on? She says this, her ego won't let her leave it alone. No, I'm telling you, her ego, the Macrons are going to drag her and her ego into bankruptcy. I'm just saying, that's what's going to happen. There are so many others, which again, just seems like preposterous to me. Would anyone just put this out without true evidence? I wouldn't. It seems like Candace would, though. I'm sorry, Bitter Lily. I'm not, and I don't think you mean wrong by asking the question. I'm just like, the story gets more wild. My biological brother and I look alike. My biological sister too. Yet she doesn't look like my brother. I hope not. But it's just crazy. The story is just getting more and more unhinged. I'm sorry, man. This is all right. Let's jump back into this and bring this back in here. I'm sorry. If you're somebody that has been duped by this, I'm sorry. I don't understand why. Tell me, you know what? Here we go. And I think I asked this last night. And then, yeah, I did ask this last night because I remember the comments in response to that. Why do you want this to be true? Why do you want this to be true? I know why there's certain things that I want to be true. And I'm willing to hang my hat on them. I got a lot of hats over here. I'm willing to hang my hat on those things. But there are a lot of other things that I don't even care. I don't care. I like them. I'm interested in them, but I know that they're not true. I would be foolish to say that I believe that Batman is real. I would be foolish. And then for me to say I'm gonna hang my hat on it, stake my whole career on it, all that kind of stuff like that, everybody would say, Jason, you're crazy, man. You know that's insane. But if you're a supporter of Candace, why do you want this to be true? I'm just asking, what is the end goal? And I'm not going to do the what does it matter? I'm not going to do that. I did that yesterday. I really want to hear why does this need to be true? Why does this need to be true? So if you don't mind, down in the comments, if you do it on the best live chat, put some emojis by, put some green hearts in front of it. I'll see it. And I would love to answer that or at least get some understanding because I don't understand. Why do you want this to be true? This sounds to me like a drug-induced fever dream. Or if you take melatonin, have you ever taken melatonin? And that stuff will put you into it'll give you some crazy dreams, right? Or if you're on the keto diet, oh my gosh, you will have some crazy dreams. This seems like that, like a melatonin-induced keto fever dream. Let's keep going. Episode 5, who created Emmanuel Jean-Michel Macron? What the devil? On February 13th, 25, Defendant premiered the next episode. Who created Emmanuel Jean-Michel Macron? What? Emmanuel Jean-Michel. Okay. Oh, this is the nephew. Oh, this is where she's trying to get the nephew story. Defendant announced on X. I'm not going to read all that. We already read that. We know this. This is a good time to tell you that most of what you think you even know about Emmanuel Macron thus far, his legacy, it is just objectively not true. Emmanuel had a major hand up in life. This guy is so private, you don't know much about him. So if he's so private, how do you know anything about him? Never mind. I digress. What we do know about him is, I would say, quite sinister. Quite sinister. It's making me think, I don't know of that movie, The Manchurian Candidate. Brigitte Macron perhaps is Jean-Michel Trudeau. Brigitte, okay. So that would be her brother? Who are you really? And what is the relationship with Emmanuel Macron? What is Emmanuel Macron's relationship to you? What is the relationship between Emmanuel Macron and Jean-Jacques? And it's not feeling like a nephew to me. He's just a puppet. And he has been groomed from that time that he was a child, but groomed by who was his father. Who is his father? He doesn't really seem to have a close relationship with his parents of these his doctors, perhaps. What? They can change identities and they can change names. This family has this capacity. Girl. Candace deserves everything she gets for this. Let's keep it going. There are too many similarities between the upbringing of Emmanuel Macron and, as we talked about, the upbringing of Kamala Harris and the upbringing of Barack Obama. These people being raised by their grandparents at a time when that the MK Ultra program was running. So, and there's something very, very wrong here. How do you know that though, Candace? In episode 5, Candace doubled down on her most outrageous lies, painting the Macrons as criminal masterminds, propping up a false identity with forged photos and fabricated past. She opened by claiming that the images of the public sees can't be trusted because they are supposedly manufactured by a French public relations consultant, Mimi Marchand, who Owens insisted has an extensive criminal history, has been accused of many a forgery, many an extortion, and is a lot of trouble right now. I can't even, I don't even know where to go with this. Like, I can't understand how this woman is presenting this as a factual. Again, I'm going to say one more time. Is it a 0% chance that this is possible? No, I give you it's a little more than zero, a whole lot less than 1%. Is it possible this is all false? Very much so. It just doesn't even make sense. Like, there are too many people that have to keep this lie going. I believe it was Al Capone that says, I can trust anybody with a lie as long as they're dead. Uh, I mean, or maybe he said I can trust 3 people with a lie as long as 2 of them are dead. Something of that nature. But this would need to be hundreds of people that are all complicit in this story. Hundreds of people. Is it easier to believe that hundreds of people are all we're quiet about this, or that none of this is true? Which one makes more sense? Owens embraced the false theory that President Macron is a modern day Manchurian candidate, handpicked and groomed by shadow elites. Owens stated, most of what you think you know about Emmanuel Macron is just objectively not true, and suggests that the entire life was staged for this role. Speaking directly to him, she said, you know how to act and pretend that you are the president. Clearly, somebody behind you has been moving you all through life. But how do you know this, though? All right, what do we got here? Am I overlooking that Candace is not stupid and she has consistently explained why she's doing this? Okay, that's fine. Tell me why she's doing it. Humor me so I can make sure I'm not being obtuse. Why is she doing this? And then what's the end benefit, if you don't mind me asking? Just asking, because again, I don't get it. I don't see what's the upshot. What is as Todd said yesterday, there's high risk, low reward in this. What's the purpose of this? And I'll listen. The world seems so chaotic and dark. People feel so encouraged in their ability to uncover conspiracy. This is important to people because it gives a sense of security or safety in a dark world. I can understand that. The only problem is, what safety do you have? What safety are you gaining? Let's say, for laughs and giggles, that all of this is true. Every last bit of it. What does that do for you? My world is still dark and chaotic. I still got to go pay bills. I still got to do things. Nothing changes. Not one iota of my life changes knowing that Brigitte Macron has a Johnson. Not one thing. Nothing. Nothing is made better. Nothing is made worse. Now I just know, okay, great. I still got to go out and get this yard cut. What is made better by that knowledge? Not a thing. Nothing. And okay, fine. You want to tell me that they're dark, sinister PDF files? Okay. You know what that means? That means that they're sinners. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. That means that they need to be saved. They need to acknowledge their sin. So they're sinners. And guess what? Every last one of us are sinners. So nothing's changed. Nothing new there either. So what is made better by this knowledge? Just asking. When Dave, I'm reading through it right now. I'm not committed to it. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm not committed to it. I'm not going to commit my audience to 8 hours of this. I'm not. I'm already doing enough already right here. I'm doing more than my fair share. I'm already, my own interest, my own ADHD has tapped out. I'm doing this for pure love of the game. I don't care. I really don't. There's no benefit in it. And again, I'm just going over this. I think it's kind of interesting, but I'm not going to do an 8 episodes. It's not going to happen. It's not. For what? What's the benefit? What's the upshot? There isn't. And that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the purpose of this? Let me finish this part up, because I realize I'm not even at the stopping point that I wanted to be at when I said I had put my little notes here. I'm not even near my stopping point. I think a year from now, most of the world will be awakened to the fact that what I said 1 year ago is true. This is Candace saying this. I believe that Emmanuel Macron is a homosexual man that was groomed from his youth. I believe that the individual who groomed him is now his wife. I believe that his wife was born Jean-Michel Trudeau and transitioned in his early 30s. And I believe that the entire state is colluding to protect that secret. And like I said, I would stake my entire professional career on that point. I'm gonna just stay right there. You do realize that if this is true, then their relationship with the school, whole thing with the school thing, is a farce because she was a woman when he met her and he was 15 years old. Like, none of this is making sense. Okay. I mean, maybe it's me. I don't, maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't get it. I'll tell you, I've already said now multiple times, I'm not committed to this, and it just seems silly. And it seems like Candace Owens, this is my perception of the issue. Candace Owens' pride, her arrogance, her self-importance, her self-inflated ego has latched on to something that makes her feel valuable. I mean, we're literally seeing it was all over the news last week, all over the place. Allegedly, Trump reached out to her, all that kind of stuff like that. That has given her a dopamine hit like no crack pipe could ever do. And she is hell bent to keep that dopamine hit hitting. If that means that she's going to introduce aliens, if that means she's going to break the multiverse, if that means she's going to bring in doppelgangers and time travel, she's going to do it because that's what she wants. And she's hell bent on it. I do believe that this lawsuit is really meant to just make a fool out of her. I do think that. And I said that yesterday's show, and good gracious alive, I hope we'll have a tomorrow show about this. I do believe that they're making a fool of her. They're going to put this out there, and whatever the facts are, it won't bode well for Candace either way. Defendants published several false defamatory ex posts in support. Okay, let's go over these real quick. Oh my gosh. I mean, you got to give, I'm going to do this though. I'm going to give Candace credit. She's got a high level of snark though. She is snarky. She is a snarky lady for sure. All right, exclusively available on Candace Owens. Credit due. This was years of his hard work in fighting the Macrons in court to release photos of Jean-Michel. Emmanuel Macron married a man, which was illegal at the time that he did it. The girl you like, also the girl you like. That's messed up, man. That's pretty messed up. Shout out to Candace. That's pretty foul. Why did he send me the legal letter? Because Brigitte can still be prosecuted for this crime against a minor up until the end of this year. Because his marriage was illegal act, Emmanuel Macron broke the law. Okay. When he married his groomer. Why did he? Okay, we already said this. Sorry about that. It's all very shocking to believe Emmanuel Macron got away with lying to France about his wife's gender until Xavier Pritchard shows this photo. I was blown away. Brigitte Macron is a man. Okay. Is that okay? I don't see the. I mean, I don't see it, but okay. In episode 6, Pritchard and Owens laid out the full conspiracy theory, anchoring their defamatory claims with manufactured evidence they allege without a credible basis. That Miss Macron is actually Jean-Michel, born male, who was later committed incest with President Macron, who himself, they claim, is a product of a mind control program, the Manchurian Candidate. They further asserted that the Macrons conspired to manipulate the media, falsify records, and use state power to suppress the truth. Owens presented this narrative as fact, not opinion, despite knowing its utter falsity. Okay. 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 To bolster these outrageous claims, Owens and Pritchard obsessed over Mr. Macron's childhood photos, asserting without proof that images were doctored to hide her true identity. Pritchard claimed a young Jean-Michel was airbrushed out of the family photo, though neither he nor Owens pointed to a single source. Owens dismissed the 2021 Daily Mail debunking article by saying she did not need to understand the theory that Mrs. Macron's biological sex she could just see. Miss Macron was actually Jean Michel. When confronted with the first communion photo, which undermines her theory, Owens shrugged it off reality, claiming that it was too modern and only simple and had simply been colorized to look older, an assertion she previously contradicted after receiving the December redaction demand. Owens further downplayed the wedding photo, claiming it was not of Miss Macron without providing an alternative explanation. Her confidence is based not on facts, but on the determination to stick to the false but sensational narrative. Okay, I mean, again, I'm not committed to it. I just think that the story has a high level of what in the world is going on. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but see, that's another thing. I could be 100% wrong. Again, I told y'all, I this story could be all true. The man could have been the uncle, could have been the son. All of that stuff could be true now that he's the aunt and he's the auntie and the daughter. All of that could be true. Not one single thing in my life is going to change or improve. Not a thing. Nothing. I don't think that in France at the time that Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Trudeau got married, that a man could marry a man. And then, of course, now they can. So I don't know if in France that was legal, I think is the argument that they're making. I guess. I don't. Okay. I think this is a highly sensational. And again, like and I'm saying it right now. My name is Jason. And I think this is very silly. And I think it's making a fool out of Candace Owens. I'm sorry. I can't go anywhere else with that. I think it's making a fool of her. I think she's glommed onto and hitched her horse to a story that is ultimately going to drag down her credibility, is going to drag down her notoriety and such like that, and very, very, very likely will bankrupt her. I'm sorry, there's no other way around it. Yeah, I'm going to leave this, and then, like I said before, the entire pleading, because I've gotten nowhere near where I was supposed to be, nowhere near it. So it is down in the comments. I mean, in the description of this video. I'm a blitzkrieg through this very quick. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Okay, I'm a blitzkrieg this. So this is episode. What's this? Episode 6. This is the epilogue. Okay, so they were finished with that. So it's episode, I guess technically episode 7. The episode is premiered on Owens' channel, false and defamatory claim that the family member assaulted President Macron, and President and Mrs. Macron are committed incest. Owens linked these false defamatory claims to assault and incest with equally false claims that the Rothschild, Trudeau, and Macron families are intertwined blood relatives. During the epilogue, Owens made the following specific false defamatory claims. I know there are so many lingering questions. Is Brigitte Macron the first lady of France? And well, Macron's biological father. We're hearing that a lot. Where's the real Brigitte Trudeau? Okay, so many of you had suspected that these families might all be related. Are the Agirs and the Trudeaus and the Macrons all just from the same family? Is there a chance that Brigitte Macron, some of you ask, is actually the father of Emmanuel Macron? This is that is some bonkers stuff. We definitely know and have confirmed, like we did in the last episode, that he had his hand held through his career by David D. Rothschild, a family that is known and is on record of having practiced those kind of relationships. Okay, why and how did Emmanuel Macron get so close to the Rothschilds? So close that his colleagues said that the dude didn't even know that the whatever meant Yet he became the youngest managing partner. I guess this is part of his work career when he was in the finance industry. Okay. Okay. We understand that whatever it was, David Rothschild was holding his hand. He just couldn't question the power that was being given, and we laugh at him in meetings because he knew nothing about finance. Why did David Rothschild it see to it that Emmanuel had his hand held? Vice is nice, but incest is best because it stays in the family. This is a direct quote from David Rothschild's cousin, Natalie Reams Rothschild. Then there was a biography which was written in the author of Natalie Livingston, which was entitled The Women of Rothschild, which sort of revealed the maniacal desire that the Rothschild family had to maintain their fortune and their power in the world. And but what does this to me, this makes no sense. I don't. Okay, this is just long, Candace. And again, we've gone well off the reservation. We done lost the whole plot. Again, and I'm nowhere near where I wanted to stop. Today is becoming Brigitte finale, where we do our best to answer your lingering questions. Is Brigitte Macron his father? What happened to the real Brigitte? That is, just think about that, man. Like, you're trying to you want me to believe that, yeah, there's a suspension of belief that is pretty serious in order to roll with this. This is crazy. Okay, I am, yeah, my ADHD has taken over. This is insane, y'all. This is crazy. Yes, she needs legal counsel. They need to tell her the truth about our laws in the United States of America. I agree, Lady Luck Up. I don't see how this is going to go well. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be dismissive. I I don't get it. I do not get it. I mean, we could just wait. Yeah, I like that. We can just wait till she does her response because that'll be posted ashore. I yeah, I don't. Here, let me jump because I was hoping to be well into the hundreds already by now, and I have jibber jabbered my way into actually page 82. We got, oh my goodness, we're not even halfway through this crazy thing. All right, let's go. So the Macrons have sent multiple redaction demands. They sent one back in December 25, they sent one in February, and now they sent another one. So, and I think there was one even before that. Even after the series concluded, Owens continued to exploit the Macrons for content. As detailed below, she repeated her claims in interviews with other podcasters. She insisted that Miss Macron was a man. Whenever the Macrons appeared in the news, she publicized President Trump's request for her to stop spreading the rumors and falsely claiming that President Macron refused to help and end the war in Ukraine until Owens stopped speaking about Ms. Macron. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, think about okay, look, this is what I want you to ponder and why it just doesn't make sense to me. You are a college dropout. You did not finish college. You are a Black woman. Okay. So you got a couple things working against you in current society, right? You don't have any children, thankfully, but you don't have any you don't have a college degree. You land a job where you're trying to start making a name for yourself, and you slowly but surely work your way in there. You even start thinking that, hey, maybe I'll have a political career. Maybe I'll start rolling it in politics or something of that nature. And that doesn't actually work out. Though you have some aspirations, you want to do a website about defamatory comments, you want to get into Blexit, all that kind of stuff like that. You're writing for left-leaning outlets, but every time you make a move, you have to attach yourself to some other movement to pull you over there. So when you were writing for the left, writing for the left, you had to attach and you wanted to do your website, and the left really didn't work with you, wasn't feeling you, what your what's it called? Social autopsy, I think was the name of the website you were trying to do. They didn't really rock with you and they had some disparaging things to do. So what'd you do? You attach yourself to the right. They pulled you over and gave you a platform. Again, as a Black woman, you're coming across as intelligent. They want to support you, blah, 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 blah. And then you get into Blexit to help people transition from leaving the Democrat Party, coming to the Republicans, all that kind of stuff like that. You still got this mindset that maybe you can get into politics, so on and so forth. It doesn't really work. Podcasting, however, and commentating really blows up for you and such like that. And you attach yourself to different entities to help pull you in. I'm noticing that you're using other people's steam to get you into other areas, Candace. But now, all of that comes to a head when you start losing work, when you get kicked off of different platforms because of your inabilities. And then you come to this place where you need to keep a steady stream of eyes and attention on you. What do? You pick up a conspiracy and you go crazy with it. I mean, this thing is out of control. And I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't do it, but you got the president, the most powerful man in the United States calling you about your big conspiracy that you're rocking with. I mean, that's got to do something to boost your ego. That's got to do something to boost the way you feel about yourself, to know that you got the president, or you got people believing you, that the president is calling you, the same president that didn't tap you for any cabinet position, the same president didn't tap you to do anything related to his campaigning and such of that nature. But hey, I digress. This just seems very convenient. As you said before, Candace, no, there are no coincidences. It just seems like every time you need to move forward, you have something that pulls you in or pulls you into a new space. Just something to think about. All right. Let's keep this dancing. Let's go. All right. On July, so this is just this month, the July redaction demand referenced and incorporated the December and February redactions. Okay, so there's only 3 of them. Stating that Ms. Macron has always been a woman. She is not President Macron's blood relative. The President Macron was not involved in mind control program. Furthermore, it stated that these truths completely invalidate Owens' false claims. Yet again, rather than redacting or retracting her claims or simply refraining from commenting, Owens decided to use the July redaction demand for content. And I think they're doing a great job of pointing this out, man. She's using these things so she knows better. She knows better. Let's keep it dancing. Owens lied to her audience and stated that the Macrons had never told her they were not blood relatives. She then read her audience the list of false and defamatory statements, including the appendix in the July redaction demand. Next, defendants published the July redaction demand and attached appendix to CandaceOwens.com. Owens made her refusal to retract clear, stating, "We are not getting in line. We've said, file your lawsuits, my friend." Owens then claimed the July redaction demand was a result of the Macrons' law firm just running up the tab and taking their money and lying to them about what defamation means in the United States. Lying to them. Maybe it's that law firm being sleazy and running up the tab. The Macrons never received a direct response to the July redaction demand. Owens published her false defamatory statements in a series which actually acknowledged that they were false, or at a minimum with reckless disregard for their falsity and of the truth. Instead, there is a substantial evidence that at the absolute minimum, Owens recklessly disregarded the truth in publishing the defamatory statements. Wow. Okay. Let me just jump to a little bit of this, because this is such an interesting story. And the only reason I'm like pensive because I know I'm scanning through quite a bit, and it's just a lot. My gosh, I have not even landed where I wanted to be at my first break. Not even there yet. Um, I thought there was a little bit more, um, a few bit. Yeah, here we go. A few of the they're making some pretty great claims that Candace is using this for content farming and the such like that. Let me just pull this in real quick. All right, so right here, after being fired from the Daily Wire, Owens needed to produce the kinds of sensational content that would ignite her followers and contribute financially. Currently, Owens' show appears to rely heavily on funding from audiences and advertisers supportive of her false claims about the Macrons. Owens has tricked fans into believing she is on a righteous mission rather than merely a profitable one, as evidenced by the merchandise she sells on owens.com. She has monetized the conspiracy theorist label and profited from her lies about the Macrons. So here's a support her. There's that man of the year. Here's her Stanley Cup. No, I don't have one of those Stanley Cups. Okay. It didn't even go back as far back as September 24. Owens flatly admitted that she relies on fan donations to keep her podcast up and running since being demonetized by YouTube. A week earlier, she had claimed that in September 11th, 24 post that YouTube demonetized her account because she was exposing a global ring of satanic PDF files currently through the Macron conspiracy theory. In reality, YouTube had demonetized Owens' account for violating hate speech policies. Okay, and I mean, that is what it is. Again, I I'm just gonna say it one more time. I might say it two more times. Let me just say one more time for sure. She's saying right here that she relies on donations to keep her platform up and running. That is going to be super easy for the Macrons to ruin that, aka bankrupt her by just hitting her donors. Once the donors realize that she's been selling them a bill of goods or what she's been talking about doesn't make any sense, it sounds like nonsense, it's going to go real bad, real south, real quick. Owen's financial motivations for publishing the series are clear because she repeatedly solicited donations in every episode. Although YouTube has monetized her channel once again, she has publicly stated that the goal is to become financially independent from the platform. To that end, defendants have rebuilt Owen's website to host content that she knows would be removed or demonetized under the YouTube content moderation policies. YouTube will actually demonetize you for stuff that you say off of YouTube, but I digress. Indeed, one episode of the series is dubbed Too Hot for YouTube on Owen's website. Okay, let me just get, and I'm just scrolling through just real quick. I'm just scrolling through very quick, and I'm gonna get to some of these comments in the chat, but I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything that was meaningful. And again, this is such a long post. My goodness. But I do believe we have the skinny, if you will, the overall perception. I just want to get to page 100. That was just all I was trying to get to. I can't believe that, man. Jason, how do you? This is such. Oh my gosh. All right, we might have to make this another day. Okay, well, let me see. Let me just look at some of the exhibits real quick. Bring this back in. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. What are they talking about here? They got our analytics up. What are they talking about? All right, what are they talking about our analytics? Let's see. Owens' defamatory assertions and implications were widely circulated. Indeed, in February 17th, 2025, defendant posted a level of engagement they had on YouTube, calling it a record for us, largely due to the series. Okay, so she had Okay, 3.8 million subscribers. Oh yeah, this is our analytics. Sorry. Okay, so she had 58 million views. Watch time is something insane. 11 million watch hours. 467 subscribers in the past 28 days. That is impressive. So that's basically April to February. Okay. Yeah, that's impressive. No question. Owens boasted about the widespread reach of her series in Defendant March 17th episode. She said, now look at the series becoming Brigitte everywhere, and the implications are they are far reaching. I want you guys to be clear. This is not just a viral in France, viral in America, viral in the UK. This story is even viral in Russia. People are now considering it as part of their political dialogue and analysis, judging Emmanuel Macron's current actions because the world is finding out about the person who groomed him. Okay. Okay. I successfully made it to page 100. I cannot believe that. Good to see you, Marjorie. Thank you so much for rewatch. What's Lady Luck Club says? If Candace and any person on earth believes this to be factually truthful, you have that right, but it will go different in the court of law. I that's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Because this makes no sense at all, man. This is wild. All right, there's some good back and forth. I love the good family reunion back and forth going on. All right, what is Dan said? He said her videos are online and she's constantly responding to this. Okay. I mean, she found something that she found a dog that will hunt and she's gonna keep hunting with it. I'm not mad at her any way, shape, or form. It's just what's the benefit? What's the end goal? I think somebody told me earlier. To me, it's okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I just don't think it's doing what she thinks it's doing. But let's keep this going. Let's roll. I do want to thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for liking the video. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you. This Sunday coming up, Sunday the 3rd, I'm going to be doing a live stream, doing an Ask Me Anything AMA style. And I'm going over the name change from Dear Woke Christian to the Jay Witt podcast. I'll be going over that, answer your questions. Maybe I'll have some answers about Brigitte Macron. I don't know. Anyway, so I'll be doing that this Sunday. I'll make sure the thumbnail is up early so you all can make sure that you go and hit that bell notification, all that kind of good stuff. Let's see what do they say here? If I hit the button right, there we go. The Macrons have publicly discussed the emotional harm they've suffered as a result of this conspiracy theorist. At an International Women's Day event in Paris on February 24, President Macron told reporters that the worst thing is the false information and fabricated series scenarios. People eventually believe them and disturb you, even in your intimacy. Oh my gosh. Defendants by amplifying these conspiracies on a global scale and by purveying even more intimate and even more heinous theories of their own have greatly exacerbated that harm. I mean, I don't disagree. Like I couldn't imagine what this is doing to them. And again, I believe the woman is Brigitte Macron is a woman. And can you imagine you being a woman and somebody going through this length to try to quote unquote prove that you're not a woman and has created this entire narrative and sub narratives and subplots and spin-off series about you not being a woman? That's crazy. And again, I mean, it has now let me also say this. 39-year-old woman messing with a 15, 16-year-old boy is super creep town. I mean, that's some creep university type of stuff right there. That's summa cum laude at creep university, right? But that don't mean you're a man though. That is not it. Thanks to Candace listed. What do you mean? What is that? Who was the thanks to Candace listed? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to slander somebody. I personally don't think it's going to go to court. In my mind, the Macrons are going to what I think, and I said this in the opening. I think the Macrons are going to drag this out. It's going to go about a year, maybe longer, slightly less. And I believe Candace is going to she's going to wave the white flag because they're going to financially bankrupt her. All they're going to do is and they've already kind of told you what they're going to do when they mentioned how Candace makes her money, her supporters and advertisers. If they start hitting those supporters and those advertisers with the facts and the 1-2 punch, and people are like, man, this chick is crazy. If they start making her look like Alfred Hitchcock, if they start making her look like the crackhead under the bridge with his crazy theories and such like that, and people start retracting back their support and such of that nature, it's gonna go bad. That's just me. That's just my thought, though. No, I don't think I don't think that the Macrons are going to be hurt by this. And I said before, even if the Macrons pop up and be like, you know what, Brigitte is a dude, and what you expect the French to do? You expect them to get like on their moral high horse, the country that allows 14, 15-year-old boys to be groomed by 39-year-old women? Nope. They're gonna be like, okay, fine. And all of this is going to be for naught. All this, Candace is not. The people are not going to be running to her like, "Oh, she's the greatest." Because remember, she's got quite a few conspiracies that have not worked out well for her, and have not boded well. So I don't think this is going to work. Okay? Lady Luck Club says her supporters are going to fund the entire case. Bet money on that. Okay, all right. I'm willing to be wrong. Okay, where did we go? Where were we? As a result of false defamatory assertions and implications published by defendants, the Macron's reputations have been impugned. As a result of the false defamatory assertions, the defendants and Macron's relationships with other members of the government, potential political allies, and others have been undermined. Oh, they're just going to keep doing this. They're using the same sentence over again. By the defendant, confidence in the Macron's integrity and fitness as political and governmental leaders has been undermined. In view of the forging of the foregoing, the Macrons are entitled to actual, presumed, and punitive damages in the amount to be specified and determined at trial. Okay, I'm not going to read all of these. I'm going to blitzkrieg these very quickly. Count one, defamation. All right, that's what they're going with. Count one is defamation. Plaintiff repeat and allege paragraph 1 through 248. So we're not going to read that because that's what we just read. As if set forth fully herein, the defendants published the following false defamatory statements as a fact in January 31st, 2025, during the introduction of the series, which defendants published on CandaceOwens.com. Defendants made, endorsed, and adopted the following false statements. The statements: Brigitte Macron, alleged brother, who I believe is Brigitte Macron. The guys, by the way, you should know that there's a strange. Oh, we already read these. Okay. All right. So these are the defamation statements. And if they can prove that she was aware that, and they did actually answer these questions, I'm sorry. I don't. This is what I think is going to happen. I do think that's going to happen, Lady Luck Club. I do think that's going to happen. Okay, I'm just going to get to the next order because we've read all of these. Yes, we've read all these. They're just restatements of those facts. Count two, false light, introduction episode 2, or I'm sorry, introduction episode. Defendant published the following false statements in fact in January 31st, and we already said that. Oh, this is the same thing. So they're saying it over again, but they're calling it now false light. Okay. Count 3, defamation by implication. And I believe these are the same things. Yeah, these are the same things. And I'm gonna leave this whole document for you all in the description of this video. I'm just kind of blitzing through to look at the counts. There's another count of defamation. Man, that episode 1 was like cooking, apparently. Okay, so this is where she's, and this is defamation, where she's saying that the journalist that was found in the river was deleted by the Macrons. Here's another statement. I believe that Brigitte Macron was born a biological man, okay, and then transitioned to be a female. This is my belief. I don't know how many times I can say it. And then this one right here again, if you're a journalist, are you pursuing truth? Or are you just going to roll with whatever happens? She says this, and you will never, ever, ever get me to transform my opinion that you were groomed by the person you eventually married in 2007, Brigitte Macron. I believe she's a man. But what if the facts don't lead you there? That's the thing that's bothersome and troubling. You believing it doesn't mean it's true. If the facts don't lead you there, and these facts that we've read and kind of read through yesterday and today seem to not necessarily support that, or definitely, I'm definitely getting some Star Trek vibes or some Outer Limits vibes, maybe Twilight Zone, maybe some Rod Sterling. So I don't know. Does that mean just because you hear Rod Sterling talking in the background that it's real? I don't know about that. Okay, count 5. Again, another false light. And I'm just kind of scrolling through these because I do not want to do this tomorrow. Count 6. Dog, how many counts are these? Defamation by implication. Boy, they're getting her on everything but the kitchen sink. I expect there to be a kitchen sink in here somewhere. Yeah, these defamations, I've pretty much every time she said something that they have sent a correction to, they're like, look. Oh, that's a fantabulous question. Raina, she says this. I'm here. Hi, from the UK here. Do people realize that Candace's husband is allegedly worth well over $200 million? So why does she feel the need to be so cruel and slander people is beyond me. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna give a theory. And thank you so much for shout out from across the pond. I appreciate you. This is a thought that I had, and I kind of proposed it earlier. This story is giving her a dopamine hit and a type of importance and a type of validation that she can't get from just being a wife and taking care of her family and supporting her husband. This is another level. This is some high grade A dopamine hit. And so that's why I really believe it is. I really believe it adds a level of value to her that she's not getting elsewhere. She's not getting it from her family. She's not getting it from her church community. She's not getting it from the gospel or anything of that nature, from her friends or children. This right here is a dopamine hit that's, again, it was clear that it's in my opinion taking over her life, because she's literally saying, I'll stake my whole professional career on this. And if the Macrons are able to drag her into some deep waters, even close to bankruptcy or financial ruin or such like that, I think it's I think that's what they're trying to do. I think the Macrons are trying to drag her into financial ruin. And Candace, sadly, is biting it because she's not willing to just step back. Yeah. I mean, this the Claire Locke law firm, this is their bread and butter. This is not they didn't hire, traffic lawyers or ambulance chasers. This is their bread and butter. And they've been successful at winning large defamation cases. I don't know what Candy's going to do, truth be told, but It's just my observation. Let me bring y'all back in. Okay. Count 8, false light, another false light. Man, they are false lighting like good night. And I'm not gonna read through all these because that is obnoxious. I didn't realize how much I had not read. Defamation is count 9. And it's literally every time she said something. So she said something that they had proven was wrong. This is the whole MK Ultra conspiracy right here. That is crazy. It is about to rain outside Whitaker Park. The thunder is getting turned up out there. Another false light, which is count 10. And they give the statement. Yeah, this is really, I don't know how she gonna beat it. I ain't gonna even lie. And again, just another false statement that she made. This is where she was saying that Emmanuel Macron was Brigitte Trudeau's nephew. Okay, if that sounds normal to you, like that sentence sounds like, again, some outer limit type of joint. We up in here with some Twilight Zone. And now they again and pointing out everything that she said in the article as well in the series as well as on her podcast. Now she's saying that Trudeau, happy birthday to Brigitte. Yeah, this is getting wild. All right, I think that was the last one. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. No, there's 13. Again, there's another false light. Yeah, they got her over a barrel. I would love to see and hear. This is count 14. That's a lot of counts, man. They are not playing. And again, I don't understand what was the upshot that she was anticipating to come from this. Like, oh, what? How is that going to make somebody's life different? How is that going to change something? Again, this is count 16. How many counts does this crazy thing have? Man, we on 17, bro. They got now. I do wonder, okay, to play devil's advocate, why did they sue Candace but not the author of the book that she basically built her series off of? The author, I think his last name was I forgot his last name, Prideaux or something like that. Why did they not sue him? Because he's the gentleman that wrote the book that facilitated all of this. What's this right here? Oh, these are some. There's his name, Ed Xavier Poussard. Okay, so why did they not sue him? Oh, there it is, right there. Why did he send me a legal letter? Because Brigitte can still be prosecuted in a crime against the minor up until the end of this year because the marriage was illegal act. Emmanuel Macron broke the law when he married his groomer. Okay. Now that I do think is kind of interesting. Why they're not suing that guy? Maybe because he don't got a lot of money. Maybe because he doesn't have as much influence. I don't think they're in it for money, in my opinion. I think they're just to ruin him, ruin Candace. Okay, so yeah, they're talking about how Broussard fostered this narrative and kind of cultivated it, but they're suing Candace. They're not suing that guy. Dude, they on count 20. They are not playing games with this woman. Yeah, and that's a good point too. David said, but it was just one book, and Candace does a daily, never-ending podcast. That's fair. I can dig that. Wait, you say what? What would be funny is they have Candace on MK Ultra. Man, she gained a ton of followers. No question about it. No question. Candace is making these statements as facts. He can chalk up his book to free press defamation for her. Okay, I got you. Thank you so much, Lady Luck Club. This is okay. Now they just got a couple of screenshots from X. Man, they don't count 21. Okay, so basically they're using all of her commentary from the series to really drag out the point that she knew better and she didn't do better. What do you say here, Raina? Apparently, they left it too late to sue Broussard and the time had lapsed. Apparently, he is hiding in Italy. Okay. All right. I didn't know that. Now I know. Your boy is hiding in Italy. What you doing in Italy, man? All right, what we got? Let's finish this up. Dude, this thing has 600 something paragraphs, but we almost we're almost done. I'm just scanning through to double check I don't get that final word. And this is count 22. Man, good luck with that, Candace. Good luck. I hope that works out for you. This is prayer for relief. I know what that means, but I just think that's funny. Okay, let's go. Wherefore, plaintiffs respectfully request that the court enter judgment in plaintiff's favor and against defendant jointly and severally as follows: award the Macrons actual and presumed damages to the specific determined as to be specifically determined at trial, awarding the Macrons punitive and or exemplary damages, awarding Macrons all costs, disbursements, fees, and interest as authorized by law, and such other additional remedies as the court may deem just and proper. Okay, I'm wondering, why don't they say, look, we want you to tell her to stop saying this ignorant stuff? Maybe they did. Let me see. Maybe they did. No, they didn't. Why does it start with G? I don't see them saying anything else. A jury trial is demanded. Oh, that's how you know this is gonna take forever on a Tuesday. It's gonna take a long time. I wonder why they didn't say like based upon. Well, I guess you can because it is freedom of speech. Okay, well then she might get right back up into it. Malice intent says Lady Luck Club. What are you saying over there, friend? Malice intent, I believe, is the premise to this defamation case. She refused to accept the evidence to debunk her claims. Right. I said that last night and earlier as well. That's, in my opinion, the worst part about it is they've already told you what you're saying that you didn't know. And she said it. They chose Candace because of her higher profile. That's probably true. I can dig that. Claims he risked his life to write a book. They gave her many chances to correct her errors or retract. She is intentionally claiming these statements as facts, which is true. I agree. And that's the problem. Like, I don't see how this is going to go well. All right. What do we have? I'm just looking real quick. All right. I did not plan on reading this thing every night. So I'm sorry. I just blitzkrieg through it. Let me drop it in the chat too, just in case. I know as a pre-K law student, I let y'all down. But y'all, that was killing you, boy. That was killing me. All right, let me look at my notes. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much to Lady Luck Club. Fantastic moderator. Thank you so much, Bitter Lily. I appreciate y'all. Our moderators are the ones that keep everything moving in the right direction, make sure conversations stay upbeat and positive. They got that little wrench next to their name. So y'all, thank you so much to the moderators. I really appreciate y'all. I do want to say thank you to everybody who's helped us hit our goal of 41,000 subscribers, which is crazy. I never would have thought we'd have got here. I'm hoping and expecting soon enough to be celebrating 50,000 and the countless other milestones. So thank y'all so much for subscribing to the channel. I'm hoping that you find some value in it. If you run across something that you think I need to look at, I will always make my email available. I'm still using the dearwokec@gmail.com for the time being. So I'll just drop it in the chat. Let me know. I do appreciate that for sure. Thank you so much. Let me give you, as we're rounding these bases, here's my email if you want to email management. Thank you so much for doing so. I'll change one. I do have a Jay Witt one as well. Yeah, this was fun for sure. If you just letting you know a way that you can help your favorite content creator, hopefully I'm on that list. When your favorite content creator puts up a video, a great way to support them and help them out is to just watch the video. If they drop a video, just watch it. That's a great way to help your favorite content creator. Lady Luck Club puts a video up, watch the whole video. That's a great way to help her out. A next thing that you can do with the same video is hit the like button. YouTube likes to know that not only did you stay there for the video and watch it, but you liked it. And they have a secret rule. They really like 10%. So if 40,000 people watched the video, they would like to see 4,000 likes on the video, at least. And now that's a hard bill to fill sometimes. But if you just like the video, you're really helping out your favorite content creator. You're helping them, of course, get into the algorithm and let YouTube know that you find value because I watched the whole thing and I liked it. The next thing to do is to comment. Now, I've been guilty of this, and I tell people, just put a green heart in the chat. But, put something in the chat that maybe will stir conversation. I know we had some good conversation in the live chat already, and we'll probably have some good conversation tonight in the regular comment section. But leave a comment that actually, as much as I like to leave the green heart every now and then, leave a comment, say what you think, all that kind of good jazz like that. Help me out, help a boy out. I don't know how many people are watching, but help me out. Thank you so much, Bitter Lily, for that. And then the last thing that you can do to really help your favorite content creator is share the video. If you share it on your social platforms, you send it out via email, you send it in WhatsApp or whatever ways that you want to share it with your friends and say, hey, check this out. That's a fantastic way to help them. It doesn't cost you anything. There's a couple clicks, maybe a couple thumb taps and such like that, but it does help out a whole lot. And I just want to put that out there. It was just something I wanted to mention because we have so many new subscribers to the channel and to such of that nature. I do want to say thank you to all the members of the channel. You all have really been super supportive. I know I haven't been doing a ton of live streams. I will get back to that. But at the current moment, we got 115 members to the channel. Thank you so very much. Now, I also want to encourage you and let you know that I have what's called a Substack. And this is just another way to connect with people off the YouTube platform. And I do regular little articles and videos pertaining to things that maybe are not germane to my channel. So I did a mini rant yesterday and the day before about movies and such like that. So if you're interested, I did put the Substack down in the description of this video. I need to put it in here as well. And it's just I do it pretty much twice, maybe 3 times a week. Just put out a little article about something that's on my mind, what I'm thinking about, anything like that. And I would love for you to join me over there. It's free, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm not trying to stick you up for anything like that. Who got a grand? Oh, you talking about? Y'all are wild. I ain't got no grandbabies. My daughter had a project last school year with the mechanical, or it was actually a robot baby, to teach kids how to take care of kids. It was fun. That was a good experiment. She learned a lot. I'll tell you that much. Let me drop this in here for y'all. I think I did this right. Yes. Okay. All right. There we go. So there's my Substack. If you would like to follow me over on Substack, I appreciate it. And again, it's just a little newsletter that kind of keeps you up to date on things that I'm doing, things that I'm talking about, maybe that are not germane to the channel, kind of stuff like that. And I will be doing some early screenings of videos over there as well. I do rant about it, Miss Jams. I did rant about remakes of movies. I'm not a fan of those at all. I'll come back to it. Don't get me started. Don't make me rant again. I said I was not going to do any more rants about that. But I do put it over there on my Substack over there. So I appreciate it. And I found out that I can do live streams over there. So maybe we'll do a live stream on the Substack for Substack subscribers only. How about that? That'd be something different. But I do want to say thank you to everybody again who supported the channel, whether it be you just came and watched the live stream, you hit that like button, you comment, you join me on Substack, you buy me a coffee, anything like that. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. I'm glad that you find some value in it. I'm glad that you're rocking with me. I'm looking up here to make sure I got all my notes taken care of. I think I do. I got my notes squared. I love it. I love it. Now, I historically, Miss Jams, I do like remakes of movies that are good. But what we're talking about now in the last 10, 15 years, not so much. So no, I have no love for any remakes now. But I think you'll like it. I got my rant, and I also have a solution to comic book or superhero fatigue. Thank you so much, Lady Luck Club. We will catch up again real soon for sure. I am looking forward to doing that now. Tomorrow, how about the school year is almost back up? That's crazy. My kids are about to go back to school. We got school starting on Friday, and then we got to get ready to take President Firstborn to school, to college, on the 13th. Crazy. Who told these kids to grow up this fast? Who told the summer to go this fast? That's a better question. And I just hear Lady Dear Will Christian walking in the house. I guess she can't be Lady Dear Will Christian anymore, can she? I got to think about that. I'll come up with a better name. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for rocking with me. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let's do this again real soon. I do got some fun videos going. I got Corey Holcomb talking about talking about Umar Johnson. So that one, you should like that one. That one just dropped earlier today. So go check that one out and watch it and comment and like and share. There we go. Help your brother out. Y'all, thank you so much for rocking with me. I am looking forward to getting back with y'all again tomorrow. So Lord willing, we'll do it again real soon. Everybody have a fantastic night. And until then, grace and peace. Take care.